few hours ago, BlockFi filed for voluntary Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And this is just adding another chapter to the story of the insane year we've had in crypto thus far. Kind of just threw on a bunch of tweets onto this chart to sort of map out the story. I'm sure there's a lot of things missing, but starting in May of this year, the collapse of Luna, after Luna, leading into the collapse of Three Arrows Capital, then leading into the issues we saw with Voyager and Celsius. And then after this, we had a lot of focus on the macroeconomic environment with the Fed, rate raises causing these pumps and dumps. Then after that, leading into that moment with CZ selling all the FTT they had on their books, the FTX token, then crushing FTX, sending SBF, forcing SBF to basically file for Chapter 11 for FTX. Then that leads into the Gemini Earn or the Genesis Earn debacle. Then it's now BlockFi, and it just continues on and on. And so we're seeing this, the great deleveraging, the great reset of the crypto market. All the top players are going bust. Well, not all of them. A lot of the top players are going bust. So this industry is going through a massive change, and it's not going to end here, guys. It's going to continue in different ways, and that's going to be regulation. JP Morgan is now pushing to regulate crypto, to accelerate crypto regulation. What they're saying is that the crypto derivatives trading is likely to shift to regulated venues. And they're saying that essentially they have to do this for large players to get involved in crypto, because they can't just use DEXs. They can't just use decentralized exchanges. They're saying that the large players need regulated crypto venues in order to do their large transactions. So we're not just seeing the top players go bust, but we're seeing a complete reorganization, a complete restructuring of crypto. The great crypto reset is in play. This industry will not look the same in a year. We're going to come out the other side of this being heavily regulated, new players coming up, and it's going to be a totally different place. I think that the FTX debacle is going to change this industry forever. And it's really never going to be the same. It's really never going to be the same, guys. That's what I think. We're seeing more issues today in crypto. Aave temporarily freezing some of the lending markets, some of these low cap, highly volatile coins, like, YFI, CRV, 0x, Mana, 1inch, basic attention token, engine coin, Ampleforth. A lot of these coins are being halted for lending, low liquidity, highly volatile, and there's some sort of, exploit taking place here, or a failed exploit of some kind, and they're taking precautions to save users, I guess. So, there's a lot of things happening in the industry that is kind of crushing confidence. It almost feels like the crypto market was hit with a tactical nuke, because all of our top players are going bust. So, there's going to be a big fallout here of all these players going bankrupt, going bust, going to zero. What is the likely result of this? The more likely result is actually, these top players that are going bankrupt having to sell to cover costs, driving the market down even further. I could be wrong about that, but after players go bankrupt like this, there's a lot of costs they got to cover, and I do think that this could lead to actually further downside. But another thing on top of all of this that I'm looking at is the S&P 500. And right now, we're seeing the correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P break down. And this is the decoupling that we don't want, where the S&P is going up, stock market's rallying, and Bitcoin's going down. We've lost the correlation here in the worst way possible. And we're seeing that the S&P is now coming up on this major supply line, major downward sloping resistance. We're seeing a little bit of downside today, over 1.5% down, or about 1.5% down. And Bitcoin is just, not able to find support. This past year, whenever we bounced, the stock market would end up retracing back down. It's possible that we're about to do that again. Though the stock market's going to come down, just kind of follow this down trend line, retrace back down. And if that does happen, it's going to be double bad. And this is what I was saying on Twitter today. Like, I know nobody wants to hear this, but if the S&P 500 rejects the down trend line, Bitcoin is not going to handle it very well with the damaged confidence we've seen recently. A stock market rejection would be double bad for crypto. Because if Bitcoin can't even bounce, with the stock market, if the stock market sees an actual rejection here, which is not really confirmed, we don't have a confirmed reversal, but if we do get it, it's just going to be really bad for confidence. I mean, the confidence is already not there. So if the stock market comes down, people are going to be looking for the exit door if they haven't already. And so if you look at the MACD here on the daily for the S&P 500, we are at a potential cross down where we would see, the trend shift back to the downside to retest the lows possibly. And that would more than likely send Bitcoin to lower levels because, Bitcoin generally has been following the stock market, and on all of these rallies. But the confidence is just completely gone for crypto here. So if the stock market comes down, Bitcoin's probably going to just continue down, right? There's no confidence to push us up, but there's definitely enough uncertainty to push us down. That's my point. Now, looking at Bitcoin on the long-term chart, this is, we're still in a pretty classic type of downtrend, for a Bitcoin bear market. And basically, once we get back above the downward sloping resistance line, that's when things can sort of go back to normal, quote unquote, back to normal. Of course, again, there's going to be a lot of regulation coming in. Everything's going to change moving forward, the great crypto reset. But, we will at least be able to find some stability once we get back past this downward sloping resistance. So even if we go down a little bit more, eventually, we'll reach this trend line. And that's when I think the uptrend will start to begin once again. That is at least how this goes, in history, throughout history for Bitcoin. And it's just the technical signal, the trend, the macro trend signal, the reversal signal would be getting back above that downward sloping resistance. And this could take until, maybe early mid next year, April, something like that is what it seems like to me. But once we get past that point, I think things will start to be okay again. But for now, there's still too much damage to the market. And that's not to say that these aren't good areas of accumulation. I think that if you're buying now and you're willing to wait, you're going to be rewarded, massively in the long term. But, I wouldn't expect any immediate returns. But it's been about 12 days since I've done a video on this channel because Bitcoin has done nothing for 12 days. The price has done literally nothing for 12 days. And didn't really find much to talk about, but kind of just wanted to do a recap of everything we've seen recently. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.